The Tour de Flanders Ronde van Vlaanderen is one of the most iconic bike races on the calendar. It is the queen of the classics. I was struggling to pick out my 5 favourite moments, but I've managed to narrow them down. This is the 5 most iconic moments in Tour de Flanders history. Sarah is joining me to help me unpack this one.
Oh yes, we love the Tour of Flanders. It's so iconic, isn't it? This year it's always grueling. It's guts and glory in the Tour of Flanders. This year it's going to be 270 kilometres, and it's known for those really brutal cobblestone sections and those crazy steep climbs, isn't it, as well? You've got the Koppenberg and you've got the Eau de Quarmont. How's my pronunciation, Anthony?
Wasn't bad.
And yeah, it's just so punishing for the riders, because it really is a physical and mental battle, and positioning, is so important. So it's more than just the course that makes it special, isn't it? It's a very historic race. It's just beautiful. I can't wait. So you're going to talk us through your most iconic moments of the race so far.
Yes,
okay.
I am.
First up, we had to have him in here, didn't we? Tom Boonen.
Tom Boonen. It's not really a moment. It's Tom Boonen's, I know I said 5 moments, but I couldn't leave out any of Boonen's 3 wins, 2005, 2006 and 2012. Tomica, the star of a generation, the heartthrob of the housewife's favourite across Belgium. Everyone absolutely loves Boonen. He absolutely burst onto the scene in this 2005 win, which we're going to show a little few bits of. Like, the crowd is mental.
It's literally where the word fanatic came from. It is these crowds, isn't it? They go absolutely ballistic.
And you look at this acceleration, like this is 200 plus kilometers into the race, and he is ripping legs off. Like, this is the first little selection he makes in 2005. I've watched this back so many times on the Turbo Trainer. We should actually link these below. So
do you watch these in the Turbo Trainer for motivation?
No, I just enjoy watching them. I love watching the old classics. It passes the time as well. This regroups in a second, and then you'll see he goes again and he makes separation again. But he went into the race, I think, as one of the favourites that year, and he went on to win Roubaix a couple of weeks later as well. So his form was obviously absolutely stellar. But the first of 3 absolutely iconic moments for Tom Boonen. He must have some relief just rolling down as a Belgian coming in to win your first Ronde van Vlaanderen. And that's literally, you will never buy a drink in Belgium for the rest of your life once you cross that finish line. And in Quick Step jersey as well. Oh,
it's so cool. Look how much it means to him. Totally solo.
It also looks like it's from 1822 or something. The bikes have changed so much. The helmets have changed so much.
And not only that, but like the graphics, the cars. I mean, now we're getting people's watts. We're getting their heart rate. We're almost bamboozled with information, helicopter shots. And that's just classic racing, isn't it? Okay, what's this next clip now?
This is an extension of our Boonen love. This is his 2012 win. So he's coming to the line here with, I believe, Balan and Pizzato. Balan, if I'm not mistaken, won the Worlds in 2012 that year. So he's on a good season, but he's at a loss to nothing there, opening out. All he done well was go to the barriers, but opening up that early with 2 renowned sprinters in your wheel.
Never going to work.
You can rip up the form book, though, this late into a race. And as fast as Pizzato is, like, Boonen just had more. He wanted it more. That race means so much to him that it was just very hard to see past a Boonen win that day. And that rounded out a really remarkable triple crown for Boonen. He's not the only one to ever win 3 editions of the Tour de Flanders, but as a Belgian kid, that must have been super, super special.
Absolutely magic. The next person did get another triple triumph, and that is Fiorenzo Magni.
Yeah, Italian cyclist.
I don't know this guy at all. This is way before I started watching cycling.
So this actually does feel like it's in 1822. Fiorenzo Magni achieved a rare, I think actually the only person to win 3 Tour de Flanders back-to-back. He won 1951, 1952 and 1953. His 1951 victory was particularly remarkable because he went solo to the finish line and he crossed it, which to my mind is the biggest ever winning margin Tour of Flanders, over 8 minutes ahead of second place in the race that day. his dominance during those years really solidified his tag during the era as one of the prominent classics specialists at the time. And it's amazing that we still have access to this footage and cycling pays homage to these kind of greats. This is a story not a lot of people know about, but I wanted to include it because we shouldn't lose sight of this. The great victories that we see now, whether it's Boonen or Gilbert or Van der Poel, they're all on the back of amazing victories like this, and that's what makes the newer one so special.
Yeah, 1951 to 1953, that's just
Shout out.
Sensational, isn't it? The GOAT. There was never going to be a best of compilation without mentioning Mathieu van der Poel, was there?
Nah, Van der Poel's so good. It was actually interesting when we were researching this podcast, going back and seeing his dad, his granddad in stages or in Tour of Flanders races back in the day. But yeah, Van der Poel's win last year, 2024, was something really special. It rained quite a bit, if you remember, the run up to this race. And the girls' race was a total shit show where nobody could ride the Eau de Quermont. And it was kind of debating whether any of the lads were going to get up it. And as we see, very few of the lads did get up it. We have Van der Poel launching, and then we had Matteo Jorgensen like able to follow, but I'm using that really loosely because he also does get dropped. But if you watch just behind the carnage, and even Van der Poel's skills, like, look, do you see that? Like, he's struggling to keep the bike straight.
Oh yeah, when we were watching this, we were like, how in God's name is he doing that? I mean, his technical skills are off this planet.
But like the greatest, like Bettiol pushing, Mohoric pushing. Like, these are world-class bike riders who are being reduced to look like the worst leisure riders you've ever seen. Is that Mads Pedersen maybe in the background, who's also, was there 3 people got up it?
Hike a bike for a lot of these people. Now, in fairness, if you get stuck behind someone who's going slow, you do tend to have to jump off then as well. Whereas if you're not up the front, yeah, as I was saying earlier, the positioning is so important. But yeah, that was such a special win for Van der Poel. Like any big race in the calendar that's been running for so many years, there's always going to be some controversy in certain years. And we certainly had that in 1987 with Claude Criqui-Illion.
Yeah, 1987 Tour of Flanders might have been the most controversial one ever, because that was the year that Danish rider Jasper Skibby was struck by an official's team car on the Kopperberg climb, and that led to massive public outcry that the race officials ended up changing the outcome of the race. I think Sean Kelly was a podium that day also, if memory serves me, but yeah, totally, Criqui-Illion wouldn't have won the Tour of Flanders if it hadn't been for the incident with Skibby and the official team car. So pretty crazy that at that level that sort of stuff happens, and it would get you putting on your conspiracy hat theory a little bit and going, like, there's a huge betting culture in Belgium. Like, did your man have a few quid on Claude and he nudged him off the bike? I don't know.
Foul play?
Yeah, but with some of the things that we've seen with cycling through the years, like people getting kidney punched and sabotage and poisoning, you wouldn't totally rule it out.
Absolutely. There's really well documented sabotage of races, particularly in the Tour de France and the Giro, where people are literally throwing nails in front of riders so their rider wins. So it's absolutely crazy. Okay, next up is, of course, we couldn't but mention Eddy Merckx and his 1969 masterclass.
Yeah, the Belgian legend Eddy Merckx. He delivered one of the most commanding performances in Tour de Flanders history. He attacked super early on that day in 1969. He left the entire bunch behind and he just seemed to settle into that kind of world hour pace, you know, the GOAT, the greatest rider ever sort of pace. And he finished that day, I think, 5 to 5.5 minutes clear of his rivals. It must have been like watching Pogačar on, you know, we call them televised training rides, where he just attacks super early. You come home from your group spin, you're like, oh great, Pogačar solo already. Like, they were used to seeing it in that generation because Merckx was striking out and he was showcasing his strategy, his strength, his brilliance week in, week out. But 1969 was a real standout Merckx Tour of Flanders, and we couldn't wrap up our 5 iconic moments in Tour de Flanders without mentioning the greatest of all time. Yeah,
of course. And do you think that Eddy Merckx really was the greatest of all time, Anthony?
It's unquestionable, Eddy Merckx. He's 5 Tour de France GC wins. He's 5 Giro d'Italia GC wins. He's a Vuelta a España win. That's 11 Grand Tours in total. He's won Roubaix 3 times, Tour of Flanders twice, Milan-San Remo 7 times, Liège-Bastogne-Liège 5 times, Lombardia 2 times. That's 19 Classics wins. He's won 34 stages of Tour de France, which was a record before Cav took it. 24 stage wins of the Giro, 10 of the Vuelta, 1 World Champions, an era record, 525 bike race wins, the highest number in cycling history. Merckx is the GOAT.
Will he ever be beaten? Like the way that cycling has gone now and the new kind of types of riders, do you think any of, this accolade that he has, will it ever be taken off him?
No, it'll need to be an AI robot beat Merckx. He's never getting beaten. The greatest of all time. Chapeau, Eddie. Roadman, thanks for tuning in for my 5 favourite ever moments from the Tour de Flanders. Take a second to check out this other video up here, which I know you'll enjoy. And also, please subscribe to the channel. We have 3 long-form podcasts every week. Some of them are 90 minutes or 2 hours long. And I realise you're busy. Sometimes it's hard to cut through the noise and figure out the signal, figure out what the important parts are of these conversations. So I've taken your feedback, and once a week I'm delivering to your inbox a newsletter called The Saturday Spin. It's a 4-minute read or less, and it's going to break down the very best thing I've learned on the podcast this week. So it's insights from the biggest names in the World Tour, physiologists, sports psychologists and coaches. It's completely free to sign up to the newsletter. All you have to do is go to roadmancycling.com, stick in your email address, and once a week on a Saturday morning, I will deliver the Saturday Spin newsletter direct to your inbox. The link is down below. Go sign up.